Hi, everyone. Welcome to DSO Declassified number 4. This is part of the Group Dentistry Now Show podcast. We are fortunate to have the co-founder of Group Dentistry Now and Chief Marketing Officer, Kim Larson.
Thanks.
Hi, Kim.
Hi, I'm happy to be here. Really excited to talk about the year 2022.
Yeah, we are pushing up on the end of 2022. So we're going to talk about what we saw in 2022, what we've experienced, and a little bit of what we're going to be doing in 2023.
Unrehearsed and impromptu.
Yes, as DSO Declassified often is. So what we do typically is do a screen share here so you can actually see what we're talking about. A lot of it is on the Group Dentistry Now website, which of course is at groupdentistrynow.com. So here we go. Everybody should be able to see our screen. So if you're listening to this on the audio podcast, you're certainly going to want to jump over to YouTube or go to groupdentistrynow.com and go into the podcast area and watch the video. So let's talk a little bit about DSO Deal Roundup throughout this past year, since you're pretty much in charge of that and work with the people that collect that data for us.
So what's interesting to me about DSO Deal Roundup is that over the course of when we started this, 2020 or 2021, it was because we had so many M&As going on and we just couldn't keep up with doing an article for each one. So we started DSO Deal Roundup. And I keep waiting for that month to come where the DSO Deal Roundup is not as strong, especially over the course of the past 6 to 8 months, but we just have not seen that happen. More deals than ever. And part of that is because, in my opinion, is because DSOs are no longer hiding their acquisitions. They're no longer hiding their de novos. They want people to know about them. That's a huge change in the industry since we started Group Dentistry Now in 2014. People are no longer embarrassed or ashamed, maybe a little, but it's not as much as it once was. And people want their information out there. They want their new hires out there. They want their deals out there. It's really an incredible time for the DSO industry. Along with that, we're seeing a lot of, quote, DSO experts coming into the marketplace. We see these in their LinkedIn titles. Now, I guess caution the viewer, are they actually DSO experts, or are they just jumping on the bandwagon? As we're seeing a lot of people jumping on the bandwagon, sort of late adopters to it, but kind of want to get in there. So throw that title in there, sort of give themselves some DSO credibility, but not really a DSO expert or a DSO industry specialist, as they say.
Yeah, you definitely are seeing a lot more of that. Before I get into that, because I've got a couple of thoughts on that, if you are a DSO or an emerging dental group and you want to get listed on the DSO Deal Roundup, just send us an email to info@groupdentistrynow.com with your updates. We like to get these at the end of the month, and then we'll publish them the next month. So we're looking at November's right now. This was published in December. So feel free, you can email me as well, but info@groupdentistrynow.com. And if you send this to us.
Yeah, and people use this. We know a very high level executive at one of the big distributors who uses this list and sends it to the reps and saying to make sure that the reps know about these newer groups, also the newer acquisitions. So people use this list to build their businesses. And that's in part one of the reasons that we started it.
Yeah, and I'll build on that point. There are some data people out there, people selling data in the space that actually use this list as well and then resell it. So, it's just kind of interesting. I mean, it's great that we're able to do this for free. We're going to talk about some data partner of ours that we have that we're proud to partner with. But I would just, recommend that whether you are looking for data, that you look at all the options out there. And then the other thing that Kim mentioned is there are a lot of these DSO experts out there as well. So if you're an emerging
DSO social media experts, we're seeing tons of them popping up. They're very late into the game, and it's actually it's interesting.
So anyway, that's the DSO Deal Roundup, and we'll kind of move on from there. What I wanted to do is
just a side note. on the Group Dentistry Now subscribers, we want to make sure that our subscribers understand that we do not sell their data.
Yeah, that's a good point. Even though we work with the data provider, we do not sell anybody that subscribes to our website any of the data. That data we send out one newsletter a week called the DSO Weekly on a Thursday, and it is chock full of great content. We do not send you an email a day or sometimes several a day, like maybe some other publications do, but we try to give it all to you in 1 week without the spam. So anyway, sign up for that. That is free, DSO Weekly, and you can find that on the Group Dentistry Now website. Okay, so that is DSO Deal Roundup. And we also do DSO People as well. So we highlight the people in the industry. So I probably should show that, which I forgot to do, but I do want to mention that because this is just as important. So again, very similar, where we highlight people in the industry that have either been recently hired in the C-suite, like executive level positions, typically emerging groups as well as large groups.
So a side note to that is we have seen, this is another list I put together, the incredible number of women who are at the executive level, because that's what we're featuring on DSO People. We're not featuring dentists. We're featuring more C-suite, high executive level people. And some months we have 60-70% women.
Yep.
They are very much represented in the space, not necessarily everywhere. You don't often see them in every aspect of the DSO industry. However, it's nice to see that I would say for the past year to 15 months, this incredible lifting of women in the industry. And so that is something that we will note on the DSO People when we see large amounts of women entering or being promoted in this space.
Yep, absolutely. So that's another thing that you can send your updates to info at Group Dentistry Now for DSO People again at the end of the month, just like DSO Deals. And Kim's point, it tends to be executive level operations, business development, procurement. Dentists certainly are on the list as well. Typically, like chief dental officers or dentists.
And we're seeing, since this is DSO Declassified and this isn't rehearsed, but we're seeing a lot of this revenue cycle management directors coming into play.
Yeah, RCM.
That is not something that we saw. It was something that we covered at that we saw the DSO Tech Summit in Arizona, but we've really been seeing a lot of those upper level RCM people come into the space.
The Tech Summit in Nashville had some definitely had RCM mentioned quite a bit, and that is something on the revenue cycle side that's becoming more and more. It's always been important, but actually now there are positions carved out in particular for that. So one other thing, or actually a couple other things here. Kim, you are working on the emerging groups to watch with our editorial board. So when will the 2023 be announced?
Well, we typically announce them. Wait, can you go up on the screen?
Sure.
We typically announce them in January or early February. So I would expect it to also come out in January or early February this year. This is probably our top article of the year, the most read article, obviously for good reason. People use it for different things, to learn about DSOs, to learn how to structure their DSO, to learn what DSOs they want. Emerging dental groups to join. I know that that's one way people use our website. Is we've had dentists who want to join a dental group or a DSO, and they come to our website to learn more about them and decide who to partner with. So this is also, we have the award ceremony at a DSO event later in the year. We had, I think, our second official awards ceremony recently at the DSO Leadership Summit, and that was wonderful. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I've got that a little bit later on the list to talk about that event, but yeah, you're right. Anybody that ends up winning this award actually obviously is listed on the website, but then gets the opportunity to bring their team and accept a physical award at the DSO Leadership Summit. And we did that in Nashville.
And the networking opportunities among the groups is remarkable. They're comparing success stories, they're comparing their challenges and ways that they've learned to grow their group. And they're emerging dental groups of all sizes. We have some very small ones and some large ones that would probably be soon considered a DSO or a DPO. Oh, that's the other thing we need to talk about. All of the support names, that the acronyms that are coming into fruition here. We're seeing a lot of that. As a matter of fact, the implant, we have an implant category, DSO.
Yes, that are focused on implantologists. So go ahead, talk about DPOs. Perfect timing.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of those. It's pretty amazing that they're trying to separate themselves from a DSO. Usually they're saying that they're dentist centered.
Yeah. I mean, the DPO, I think, was, in fact, I know was Dental Partnership Organization, was coined by MB2. So hats off to MB2 for creating that, that model, trying to differentiate themselves from a traditional DSO. And, I could spend quite a bit of time on this, but, the short version is some of it is marketing. So the structure is similar. And then depending on the DPO, because they're all different, just like DSOs are, the equity participation for a dentist that sells their practice to a DPO, they tend to hold more of that equity at the practice level versus getting equity at the top co at that DSO level. So we'll kind of leave it at that because you kind of get in the weeds. But that in essence is you have more equity in the practice that you sold, you retain more equity, right?
And in today's difficult recruitment environment, it certainly helps.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think in just trying to differentiate yourself as a DSO, why somebody should work for or sell to a DSO or a DPO, when now there's not 10 options, there are literally 1,000 options out there. So it becomes more of a challenge. So especially the smaller groups need to differentiate themselves because they don't have the brand awareness and the marketing power behind them. So really, really interesting stuff. Great, thanks for bringing that up. It was not on the list. So
I haven't even seen the list.
The list is right here. All right. So beyond that, we also have upcoming thought leader article that we do every year. So kind of more to come on that. But that's always fun.
That's always exciting, and it's great to hear everybody's perspectives on the past year and the upcoming year, because these are some of the industry leaders that really guide the way for so many of us in the industry. What's our next talking point? Oh, well, Seattle Study Club.
Yep. So I wanted to talk about partnerships, so we kind of move away a little bit from the content side of things, and then we'll come back to it because we're going to talk about events. But yeah, this happened back in October, and I'll talk a little bit about it, and you can certainly chime in if you want, Kim. But we had the opportunity to partner with Seattle Study Club to form the Group Dentistry Institute. And so far, the response has been really interesting because, so the idea is that Seattle Study Club and Group Dentistry Now have formed something called the Group Dentistry Institute, which is a customized educational portal and platform for emerging dental groups and DSOs. So if you don't have any formal continuing education for your clinicians, then they're probably getting their education the way they did before they joined your organization. So what Seattle Study Club and Group Dentistry Now formed is a customizable continuing education option for your group. So if most clinicians know what Seattle Study Club is, maybe some DSO leaders that aren't clinicians, they may not know, but really high-end clinical education for your staff and for dentist owners as well. So with this idea, there's a lot of different options, but one is you basically take a Seattle Study Club and you drop it inside of a DSO. So you, in essence, have, a continuing education platform that you don't necessarily need to build yourself, that it's already been built. And then, of course, the compliance side of it, knowing who is up to date on their continuing ed and has all their CEs and who doesn't, is managed by Seattle Study Club. But there's a lot of different options.
Yeah, we've had interest from incredibly large, I'll just leave it at that, DSOs who have built-in education systems already in place for their dentists. But of course, the reputation of Seattle Study Club is second to none. And we've seen smaller groups as well. And actually just the whole range of groups interested in this. So I guess if you're interested in that, in learning more about it, just email us at ce@groupdentistrynow.com.
Thank you. Yep. And absolutely, large groups that we would have probably thought wouldn't need this, but they had holes in their education platform, and then the smaller groups that don't have anything put together. So we'll talk more on this in 2023. Gonna have some podcasts, gonna really dive in and share some of the education with you. But yeah, exciting. That's one of the partnerships. We also talked a little bit about the data side of things and how there's some people out there. There's a lot of data providers out there now in the space. And we've partnered with DSO Data Connect and on a couple different levels. We talked about the DSO deal roundup that Kim and the team that she has are putting together that data on a monthly basis. What DSO Data Connect has done has really created a portal for you, whether you're a DSO looking for practices to acquire or small groups to acquire, or a vendor looking to connect with chief clinical officers and procurement managers and directors of hygiene or whatever the case may be. They have a platform where you can access this. And I'll just say it's updated twice a month. We probably have a couple dozen clients that we have here at Group Dentistry Now that are using this platform. And you can see on the screen 22,000 corporate level contacts, 2,500 DSOs represented, mostly in the US, but they have Canadian as well. And if you're interested, reach out to me personally, Bill at groupdentistrynow.com, and we can get you a demo and also get you some type of discount as well if you decide to purchase the data. But we've gotten really good feedback from our customers. Yeah.
Okay.
Beyond that, one other thing I wanted to mention, we started a partnership with the people that started DSO Data Connect. We have another newsletter called DSO Pro, and we've broken it up into a couple of really focused segments. So we actually do one per week, but we have one that is focused on technology, one that's focused on HR and recruitment, one that's procurement and operations, and one that's happening. So if you go to dsopro.com and you click on subscribe to DSO Pro, which is right over here, you can get access to this and there's no charge. So I just wanted to mention that as well as the partnerships. And I'll let Kim talk a little bit about the partnership for the Leadership Summit, and that can kind of lead us into the events.
Yeah, we've been working with HR for Health on that event. They're incredible at their planning. It was an amazing event. It was really for us at Group Dentistry Now. It was just so nice to see the billboard at the Nashville Music Hall of Fame with the Group Dentistry Now Awards there out on their marquee. Just to see that people are no longer hiding their DSO, they're no longer hiding their successes. It's just incredible to see the growth and the consolidation, and just seeing their employees so proud of what they've done. Clearly, it was extremely exciting for everyone involved.
So I think, Kim's point is pretty valid. When you started Group Dentistry Now back in late 2014, and you talk about this often, that there was really little content out there to share, right? And now we've kind of come full circle where there's so much that we have to do the DSO deal roundup, and people aren't hiding anymore. I think a lot of the content that we saw was relatively negative about the DSO model. And
right. And Group Dentistry's angle was always to shine the light on the good things that DSOs were doing. And back in the day, 2014-ish time frame, I tried to focus as much as I could on the philanthropic efforts, because they have the resources, the money, the time to help those underserved communities, not only in the United States, but elsewhere as well. And that has been, of course, we still see the philanthropic efforts of many DSOs. That isn't the only thing that they're standing on to shine a good light on them. They're bringing so much more, the high tech, the AI, the just incredible resources that they have to share with their communities.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the industry certainly taken a turn. The DSO industry, that is, where
Yes, we've rounded the corner.
and now the model is looked at as not just viable but favorable. That
we still see, I mean, I do still see some people out there fighting against the DSO model, but overall, generally speaking, the evil empire, so to speak, as they were, all the derogatory terms that we fought against for so long. It's just so nice to see it. And that was at the DSO Leadership Summit. For me personally, it just felt like finally, wow, how incredible. We kind of for a long time, we were saying we were trying to move a mountain, and it feels like that mountain is moving. And the access to care has always been for us the staple of Group Dentistry Now. The more people who can have access to dental care, and there are DSOs out there who are really pushing that message, the body-mouth connection message, strongly, because it's essential. And that's something that that chasm was so big. And I feel like it's the bridge is being built and it's closing. And at some point, hopefully, everyone will have access to healthcare, to dental care, healthcare, of course, but dental care, no matter if they live in the most rural community or the busiest city. And that's part of why we started Group Dentistry Now. So it's great to see it. And the DSO leadership for me personally was very exciting.
And to Kim's point, I mean, way back when, and the ones that are still fighting the fight against the DSO model. I mean, listen, there are DSOs out there that are not doing the right thing, right? There are some, from a clinical standpoint, just like the solo
practitioner,
right? They're good and bad in anything, and so to say that the DSO model is bad and the solo is good is disingenuous. So I don't necessarily.
It's like a parochial view, and also. Personally, healthcare wise, all my doctors, I'm sure, are a part of the hospital system. I know they are all a part of a hospital system. And does that affect my level of care? Possibly, because it's up to the doctor to provide the level of care. And we're seeing that in dental as well, that people are starting to finally accept it. Now, the question is, this is the next fight, I guess, is will dental and medical ever completely combine or become closer companions? Maybe not combine, but become closer companions.
Stay tuned in 2023.
We see DSOs at the forefront of this, pushing for this. And I mean, for example, PDS is huge.
Yep. Yeah, there's quite a few out there that are doing
advocating for that. And I would keep your eyes tuned to that. That's our next mountain to move. It's moving slowly.
So as we move on to events, let's start with the DSO leadership recap. You touched on it quite a bit already. Your thoughts on it? 451 attendees, up from 320 in San Francisco the last year. It was in Nashville in October.
I thought there were some great panels. I thought the food was excellent.
Which is tough to do. I totally agree.
The food was just incredible. I think the organizers from HR for Health did a great job. We should probably do a shout out to some of them.
Marie and
Ralph,
Jill and Jessica and Ali. Great job.
Ali did a great job. He was definitely and of course Gary Takis.
Yeah, Gary Takis, who was the MC. Yeah. He full under pressure. Yeah.
He's a great personality for that type of thing, and obviously a huge resume for this type of work. And so we really appreciated them working with us on presenting that great event. And we hope that if you didn't attend, see you next year.
Yep. We will be doing the emerging groups to watch there once again. So 3rd year in a row.
Is that confirmed?
It's confirmed.
Okay.
So we have up on the screen now for next year, we have Austin, which I have been to this Marriott before. A very nice location if you were at the ADSO in March. It's right down the street, so downtown Austin, and this is actually going to be happening in October 12th through the 14th. So if you are an emerging group or a DSO, you please register. And if you are a vendor, you might want to jump in super early because booths and
Right.
sponsorships do tend
They
to
did sell out, and we
Yeah.
got a lot of people on a wait. We had a lot of people I on a wait list.
Yep.
Probably some disappointed people because they didn't get to attend or to exhibit.
Absolutely.
Any other shows you want to talk about, Bill?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's just I know a couple events maybe that we wanted to maybe touch on a little bit that aren't necessarily on our list, but Dental Forum we attended as well. So
that was a really great event. It's more intimate. You really get to know and see the DSOs working. They have the great speed dating round, of course, where I think it's like 17. Does each vendor get to speak with 17 DSOs?
Yeah, I think
Something like
it
that.
varies,
It's
but
something like that
that's
around
about
that.
right. Yep, 15 minutes with close to 20 DSOs, and you know who you're going to speak to ahead of time. They know who they're speaking to, and it just works really well. Vendors tell me it's one of the best events for networking of the year, if not the best event. So we'll talk about the future, where they're doing in 2023 two events, one in San Diego in the spring. We'll highlight that. And then one in San Antonio in the fall. So Dental Forum. And again, all this is on our website. You can go to groupdentistrynow.com, click on the events tab. There are just a couple other things. And Kim mentioned the DSO Tech Summit, which I know will happen in Nashville again in 2023. Very intimate. You talked about the RCM, revenue cycle management, that was focused on there. Of course, tackle a lot of CIO, CTOs there. We'll be in Nashville either in, I think August is kind of one of the timeframes they're looking at, but it will definitely be in Nashville again. They're beyond that, we don't have it on the list here, but we attended the Greater New York meeting. I'd love to get your thoughts on that. Not a DSO meeting.
Oh yeah, let's talk about oh goodness. So takeaways from Greater New York. Sunday was packed. Monday and Tuesday were very, very quiet, and we weren't there for Wednesday. But the takeaway is, for me personally, as well as many people I've spoken to, is that meeting needs to be shortened. It doesn't have the same dynamic or feel as a DSO meeting. It's obviously a very traditional meeting, and as perhaps it's coming off COVID, I don't know. We don't see that effect of quieter meetings in the DSO space, but we certainly saw it in that space.
Yep, I would agree. I think the older version of these meetings, the traditional trade show where people set up booths and CE is done somewhere else, is going away. I think smaller, more intimate focus, like a DSO meeting or a hygiene meeting or regional meetings, are going to be the future. And I think they're going to continue to see it, especially with the costs of travel. I don't think people are fearful now to be in after COVID. Hopefully not. So I don't necessarily know if it's that. It seems to be just
okay. So taking that and thinking about Yankee, also a quote traditional meeting, is now shifting, and this year is going to be very exciting. Group Dentistry is one of their supporters. This is the Yankee Dental Multi-Site Summit, and
yes,
they're going to have a different approach. They're actually incorporating a DSO track. Group Dentistry Now will be involved with that, but it's just interesting to look at a Greater New York, and now, which is staying traditional. Maybe they'll take a cue from Yankee.
Yeah, Yankee, and hats off to Yankee for doing this. Tried to pull it off last year, and Mother Nature didn't cooperate. So there was going to be a smaller multi-site meeting on Saturday, but Boston shut down. So with 30 inches of snow or whatever the total snow count was there. So
hopefully that doesn't happen this year.
No, I don't think it will. It happens every once in a while there, but normally New England can handle their snow. So
any other meetings that you want to talk about?
I want to talk about this real quick, and then
okay.
we'll go into the next one. Just highlight this since it's up on the screen. Yankee is doing a separate multi-site summit on Thursday and Friday, 26th and 27th. Kim and I will be there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are interested in attending, you can use code 20DSO and save 20%. So that's kind of all I wanted to say there. I just wanted to mention that.
AADGP.
AADGP is happening right after that, and I'll be moderating a session there as well, and we have a code GDN
Now,
or GD
now.
now, right? Group Dentistry Now, GD Now, to save 10%, use that code. And I think this one's going to be really good this year based on some of the conversations I've had with emerging groups, DSOs, and vendors. And Align Dental Partners is doing a pre-conference on the Wednesday, which is the day before the meeting starts. So I think this is going to be a good one, and it's in Las Vegas.
I really hope it's a good, successful event for them, because it would be very nice to see AADGP sort of increase their presence in the space, make a bigger mark on the space. Now is the time. Seize the moment. That's my message to AADGP.
Love it. Love it. In between Yankee and AADGP, I'll be at the NSK National Sales Meeting in Nashville to do a little DSO presentation. So I appreciate the invite and looking forward to doing that as well. A couple other meetings here. We have the Women in DSO 2023 conference that I was able to attend in Las Vegas last year, back in Las Vegas. So that is one that looks like it's going to be another great event. So you can find all the details here. It links to their website. The register now, it is March 8th through the 10th. And then we have, like Kim mentioned, Dental Forum USA in the spring in San Diego, which we'll be attending. And that is the 20th through the
Possibly.
21st.
We don't know yet if we're attending that one.
And then we have the ADSO Summit coming up at the end of March in Orlando. This is at the Omni Champions Gate, and that is called Uniting Dentistry. So this is the big one, the ADSO meeting, and it's actually a great hotel. Orlando in March would be certainly a great place.
Do you have to be a member to exhibit that at that event?
Do you have to be a member? On the vendor side, yes, you have to be. It's a great question. Industry partner. So yes, you actually have to be an industry partner to attend, to just attend, and then to actually exhibit. There is an additional fee, I believe. If you are a DSO, I don't know if you need to be a member or not. So great question. So beyond that, we've then the DICOMA meeting, which is a big one. That
I know, that's a good meeting. It's always tough for me to get to that one because it's in July, and July is a tough month for people with kids.
GD, again, it's very similar code. GD, Group Dentistry Now, GD Now _ 23.
That's a new one.
GD Now _ 23 to save $150, which is great.
So we usually have the largest discount.
Yes, yeah. So go to us.
So go to us.
Some other discounts.
There are other discounts, but we usually have the highest discount.
Yes,
and
we do.
In the past, I don't know if DICOM is doing it this year, but as time goes on, the price of their conference goes up. I'm not sure. I haven't researched it.
I think that sounds right.
Is it like that again?
Yeah, I believe so. I haven't checked, but the years past it's been like that. So
and then to come full circle, it's October 12th through 14th for the DSO Leadership Summit.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I did want to mention again, and we're back to the full screen here, is since we are at the end of the year beginning, if you are a DSO or a vendor, we have some great advertising opportunities for 2023 on the Group Dentistry Now website, and also on our sister website, Join DSO for DSO. So we want to talk about any of that for a second? Or?
Yeah, that's great. Go ahead.
Yep. So actually in the newsletter, we've got some great newsletter banner ads available, some great spots. So
not for long. That's the problem.
Yeah. So definitely hit us up there. Content marketing is always super popular, and that we limit to just a couple of opportunities per week. And so once they're gone, they're gone. And that one, those are really filling up this year.
Right. Well, we also have webinars.
We have webinars, which we do one a month, and those are, I think we might have 3 months left. So we have 9 already.
So booked. 3 spots left for 2023 webinars. Podcasts.
Podcasts are looking good. We've got we can do a one per week, so we've got availability for sure.
Okay, that's
Yep.
great. It depends on how you want to reach your audience.
And we do Facebook and Instagram retargeting too, so there are plenty of opportunities there, and some other things as well. So I know we went through quite a bit, but it's the end of the year, so this is kind of a recap of what happened this year. I mean, for our business personally, best year ever. Grew, I'm going to say, without looking at the books right now, 20, 24, 25%.
And that's just a testament to the fact that the DSO space is just becoming ever more accepted in the general dental space. That's nice to see, because for so long it was so difficult.
And we appreciate the partnerships. We've got just a lot of really cool things going on with Seattle Study Club, DSO Data Connect, DSO Pro, the Leadership Summit, some to be determined later in the year. I mean, there's just
growing and growing and growing, just like the DSOs are growing and growing. So that's nice.
Yeah, so you can always reach out to me, Bill at groupdentistrynow.com, or reach out to me. Kim just points to me, so it's good. And if you want to reach out to Kim,
that's reach out to me too.
Okay, so what's your email address?
Kim.Larson@groupdentistrynow.com.
Okay, and that's it. We appreciate it. Happy holidays to everyone.